Hello everybody. In this video I want to continue working with Vue and start showing a new way to actually how to do application. We are going to be introducing two different elements now. One of those is going to be to install a development server in your computer. Don't worry, it's actually really simple. It's a development tool that will help you have a better development setup. So in the past what we did, we actually created the Vue application using the CDN. We pretty much imported the script tag. We actually put Towin doing CDN too, like the developer network, delivery network. And that's good for prototyping or for quick samples. Now we're going to use a development setup that will actually do some kind of compiling in the code. I will introduce the concept what actually Vue templates are for and how they are working and how they actually get handled through the development. And it's a better, faster way, I would say, to organize your code, to have separation, to work in components, and you will see in a minute. So that's going to be one of the things I want to be introducing. The other one that I want to be introducing here is actually a new way to do Vue applications. What we did in the past when I showed you the versatility and reactivity of Vue, we actually use the options API. What that means is pretty much what we did. Like we have a data element, we have a method, we have computed, and everything needs to be exported inside the script tag. Now, that's all that is option API, and that came from Vue 1 and Vue 2. And it's actually so long, and they will introduce it. It's relevant today at the moment that I'm recording this video. This is still supported, but there is a new way also. It's the one that I want to stick with through the rest of the videos. Because I believe it's a little faster and easy to understand. Is one of those elements, and it's called the composition API. The composition API actually goes to a lower layer where Vue actually exposes those reactivity and you have better control of those, and you can do several elements and you can have a better separation and modules and files, and it's actually, I believe it's going to be a lot better. So we are going to be introducing those, and not only will we be introducing the composition API, I will be introducing actually the sugar reference. That's the way that the Vue team actually is calling. Is like a second level on top of the Vue composition API using a script setup tag, and that simplifies a lot more your code. Everything that helps you to simplify is a lot better. Now, that sugar code, sugar reference for script setup is right now in experimental mode, but it looks like it's actually moving to be part of the main API or the main API for Vue. So let's actually get started, and let me show you that. So for now, what you can actually see my computer, I have Vite, I don't know how to pronounce it really. Let's say Vite. It's a front-end tooling. What it does is just a development server that will actually help us to be rendering and compiling our software. It has a really fast host module replacement. What is that? Whenever we do a change in the code, that change gets pushed to the browser without the need to refreshing. So if you remember when we're doing the live server, like the whole page will refresh it every time that we do a change. That will not be the case anymore, and it's going to be a lot faster. We have a bunch of rig setups, optimized views, numerous plugins. They have a bunch of things, and it's really neat. So the way and this is now converting the framework agnostic. What that means is you can use this for vanilla for JavaScript application, or you can use it for Vue apps or React app even. It's actually really cool. Now the main way to actually do Vue application, how the ecosystem or the community like it, or the official tool, is a CLI. There's an official Vue CLI that will help you to scaffold your application somehow. Vite or Vite, I don't know exactly how to pronounce it again, sorry. It's a new way to actually do it. So what is happening with the traditional Vue CLI is actually using Webpack, and it's really powerful, and it has a lot of elements and it's scaffolds, and you can actually have a lot of integration in there. But when you do development, it's slow, and when your application is getting bigger and bigger, it's actually slow because you need to compile everything every time that you have a change. In this one, no, you use a new concept through ESM that is already recompiled element, so you don't need to recompile everything just to push some changes. So you just compile the little changes that you did, and it's going to be reflected in your browser, and it's going to be really, really helpful. You will see that in a moment. So the way to get started is you need to have Node.js installed in your computer. It's really, really important. The version that I needed is version 12. So as I said before, this kind of development environment, what I need is a JavaScript on the server. And that doesn't mean that it's going to be a JavaScript server, but it will execute JavaScript to compile pretty much everything, to build the files. Actually, it does something extra called tree shaking. What that means is pretty much it will delete everything that you don't use for the application, so it will actually try to clean up your final build, so you have only the necessary things that you need to push it, and it's really, really simple. So the way to use it, you can use npm, you can use yarn, you can even use pnpm if you want it, but the way to use it is just pretty much running this command. So let me just copy that. Let me move this to my right. I already have my folder here. Let me just get back. This was the test application. So let me just do init my view app, and let's call it Vite -todo. That's going to be, we execute that. npm is a node package manager. It's the way how to install dependencies, and we will see that later in other videos. But I will show you pretty much what you need to do or how you need to handle your dependency. So the first thing that you need to see here is actually selected what kind of template you need. So in this case, I want to have the view application template. So you scroll down with my keys in the keyboard. I select view. This one is view with TypeScript. We are not using TypeScript at the moment. So just select just view, and we just click enter, and everything gets already done. So let's go to the folder. Let me open this one. Actually, sorry for that, it's code. Let me open it. And let me just get back. And let's install the dependencies. npm install will actually help us to install all of the dependencies that we need in order to be executed here. Or there is a shorthand to that called npm I. So just click enter, npm I or npm install. That will pretty much download the dependencies and get it installed. The first times take a little bit longer, but just a little bit, as you can see in a moment. And then the way to run it is let's do npm run development. We'll execute the development environment until we'll compile, and we'll execute everything in our code. So let me, now that it's compiled, let me put my Visual Studio on the left, and let me actually open my localhost, and I believe it's going to be 3000. And we have the view application. Let me zoom out right here. And this is the simple view app, and it's already installed, it's already working. As you can see, we have a button that have a count. We click it, that count get increased. That means the reactivity is already there. We have a couple links and a logo. That's pretty much the way that the traditional view application came up. And let me explain you how this actually works. So on the left, you will see I have my code already open. I have the icons here. Let me just close this, sorry. And let me show you what is every file, what it does. So node module is pretty much all the dependencies installed. We don't mess up with this, so we just keep it the way that it is. Public is everything that is going to be public in the application. Right now, the only things that we have is the 5 icon. That's pretty much that little icon that we have here on the corner. Then we have our source. But before we actually jump into the source, we have the git ignore. It will help us just pretty much whenever we use a git in our application, and we are going to be using it. It's just to list which folders are not going to be tracked by git in here. We have the index.html, and this is traditional HTML. You can see you just have a title as Vite app, and we have a div element with ID app. It's where everything the view is actually getting inserted. But we can see also that we have a script tag, module, that actually imported the main JavaScript file here. That main JavaScript we're going to see in a moment. The package JSON is where we have everything we have installed in the dependencies and everything that we're actually using the script. So the one that I used to open this one, it was the development script. So that's why we execute npm run dev. Whenever we need to publish in a server, we need to run npm run build. So that's, and that will create a distribution folder with all the package already ready to use it. And this is a little configuration file that Vite actually needs in order to be executed. It's already the way that it is, so we keep it that way. So now let's go to the source directory. Let me open my main JavaScript. This is the one that will get inserted in my index.html, and you can see it's just created my application, and it's mounted my application in the ID app. So this is pretty much what we're doing all the magic. But we saw here that we have a view app, a view file. That view file is something that Vue introduced. It's called single file component, and it's actually really cool. It's really neat. It's a way to have the, let's say, the HTML, the JavaScript, and the CSS all together in one file. That way you can actually have a file per component, and then you can import those components inside your application. The way that I will actually show you right now. So the template will be the HTML section. You can see we have an image tag, and we have a hello world component. I will show you what is that in a moment. And we have the script tab set up where we import in that component, pretty much. And we have the styling where we have everything that we're looking right now. Now, this came from the component folder, this hello world, and it's another view file. That's what it actually have is the titles. We can see actually Vue 3 documentation is this link. We have here the state count is this little button right here, right? We can see there's a button and have like a bunch of elements there. And we have the find props and reactives to do several elements that we actually doing in our application. So the find prompt is we are sending a props to this component. We're sending a message, and that message it gets rendered right here as a title. And let me look for that. It's right here on the top, pretty much. And the state is just having a count property that started with 0, and then we just, whenever we click it, that count is getting increased by 1, and we just print in the text as the count right here. So actually this is really simple. So if we go back to my terminal, you will see that everything is running. It says that my script setup is in experimental proposal. Don't worry about that. If you want to read a little more, it will actually the documentation how to handle the script. This proposal is actually in this link that it actually shows right here. Other than that, is the service is running and is ready to do some changes. So actually do some changes here. So let's just get me back to my I believe, let me go back to my code. Perfect. Let me just go back to my application, and let's actually delete the logo. I will delete the logo and I will save the file, and you will see that will just push it right away. Now I'm calling this component getting imported from my component folder. I'm sending a prop here, and this one is just my message. So I'm sending this text through a message prop. This component is accepting a prop called message, it's a string, and then it's rendered that message right here. So we can go to here and we can actually change this text. Let's do hello there. At the moment that I save, that get pushed. As you can see, we didn't have a really big reload because it didn't happen. That's pretty neat. We can actually have the count be increased, and I can go here and change. Let's remove this text from here. I don't like it's actually this p tag, this is a paragraph tag. So I'm gonna delete that and I save it. Just get pushed, and just this component is the one who got refreshed. The count is a local state, so it didn't change here. But if I do here, and if I do an h1 tag, I do hello again, I save it. That just get pushed right there. It didn't have that really big refresh. So it's pretty neat. It's actually doing what it's supposed to, and it's really fast to handle. So the things that I want to be doing here is I want to show you how to first add Tailwind, and I want to replicate or view to do. So let's actually do the view to do here in what I believe is going to be a little bit better way. So, but in order not to make this video to be that long, let's just clean up this Vite app. Let's keep it just empty. So let's actually just remove my styling. I don't need it anymore. That's pretty. We can delete that. You can see that we lost all the styling. In the script tag, let's delete the hello world. Let's remove this two and let's just do a simple-ish one of hello there. That's it. And we can actually delete that component. Cool. Perfect. So we have now a clean Vite app, which is ready to roll. So before we proceed, I want to install Tailwind here, and I want to use the official way of to install it. That's going to be work on top of this tool. As you can see, I already have that actually open right here. I have a Tailwind CSS. If I go to Get Starter and read the docs, integration guide, and they already have the view tree to Vite. So let's use it. It's telling us that we just need to create the application. We already did that. We installed the dependencies of the app. We already did that. And now we need to install Tailwind. And this is just how to install dependencies through the package manager. Then let me just get back here. Let me do a Ctrl+C to get out from my server. Pretty much I will copy this, I paste it. I will say we'll install as a development environment, as a development dependency, sorry, my Tailwind direct version, post CSS for something, and auto prefixer. Two different tools that yes, the Tailwind requires in order to execute. So we install that, and we just wait for some seconds in there. Perfect. Now we need to create a configuration file for Tailwind, and we do that with this command with the -p. That will create a post CSS, something that we need to, in order to be able to incorporate it in the building and development process. So we do that, and that will create two different files: the Tailwind configuration and the post CSS configuration. The next that we need to do, we actually don't touch those. The one that we need to touch is going to be the Tailwind configuration to add the push element, and let me explain you what this is. So this push element, what it does, and we have those that is already here, is pretty much clean up our CSS before we go into production. That means that everything that we're not using without the Tailwind have a bunch of rules and there are a bunch of things. It's going to do a tree shaking. It's going to clean up everything before having the final project. So before doing the cleanup, we need to tell it, like, you know what, you need to check these files and you need to check these classes there in order to use it before we're able to actually clean everything. So the cool thing is that we already have it here. So I'm gonna just paste it, and we're telling, you know what, you need to be looking at the index.html that is right here, and everything that is inside my source file, source directory. We have a Vue, JavaScript, TypeScript, ESX or TSX file mode to be implemented there. That's it. Let me save that. Boom. One last thing that we need to add is we need to import the CSS. So they actually recommended to create an index CSS inside my source directory. So let me go to source, right click, new file, index CSS. And that index CSS, I will just copy these little lines in there. After we copy those lines, I can close this, and my main JavaScript, I import that index CSS. So my main JavaScript, after my application view, we import the CSS in there. So that means I can actually go to here and execute npm from development again. And you will see it, even though we install dependency and we have CSS in there and stuff like that, this just get executed right away. We go back to our application. We wait this to load. Probably have something in my computer. Let me just stop it and refresh it just in case. Now we have the hello there, and look in the way that actually Tailwind handle it. In order to see if it's actually working, sorry for that, let me open my source code and let's change this to class equal text dash to Excel font light. Yeah, let's change to font bold. There you go. So we're able to actually see that it's working the way that it's supposed to. Bring it. So I will stop the video right now at this moment. Actually, before we continue, let's actually record everything. So let me do my Git status, verify where I am. My application is not being tracked by Git, so actually you need to put Git in it. Very much, and then I use Git status. Say, okay, I need to add pretty much everything there. I will do Git add all my everything, or you can actually do a star to legit add a star, that works too. And then I do Git commit -m because we want to save a message, and I will say initial Vite app will Tailwind. Perfect. Click enter, and everything just goes in my local Git repository. So I will stop the video here, and I will continue another one. We're going to get actually where we left, and we're going to do the view application right here. So far, I hope that you like it. Any question, any doubt, don't hesitate to reach me. Happy coding, everybody.